I got the new seal here. It just drops right down inside of where the old one was, and make sure that the solid part is on the outside. See, this is the open part. Make sure this is out like this when you put it in. So that goes down inside of there, and we'll use a socket to drive it down the rest of the way. I got a this is a 1.25 inch socket. Looks like it's going to fit around the outside of it pretty good. Just kind of going around the outside edge with my miniature persuasion tool. Going real slow with it, not getting in a hurry. Making sure it's going down even. And drive it until it's home. I don't know if you heard that, but the sound changes once it seats all the way. That's when it's good to go. Now I'm going to take a little shot of some grease here, and you put the grease on the inner and outer lip of that seal. Now the old one didn't look too old, but I think they didn't seal it properly, or the bearing had failed. And when the bearing fails, it flops around inside of the tube a lot, causing the seal to wear very fast because it stretches it. So I got a nice layer of grease inside of there. Gonna get the new bearing. Get that on there. Square that up. Let's see if this socket isn't quite big enough. We're gonna need to get something different. Went and looked around. Pops helped me out. We found an 1.5 inch socket here that fits on the outside of the race very well. And let's just start tapping that in. Being careful not to get it out of square. Alright. I don't know if you heard the sound change again, but when it's seated all the way, the sound changes. Alright. We're ready to put the axle back in. That can slide on in like this. Hey, let's clean this dirt off of here first. What I'm going to do here is try to line up the axle shaft with the seal and all, so I don't tear up the seal. Felt like it slid in there pretty good. There it goes. So that's back in. So now we're just going to put it back together same way we took it apart, and go from there. I got the axle tube back in, tightened all these bolts up, put the bolt back in here, back over here, and then these two, one holding the shock and one this lower control arm. So I got all that, and then I hooked up these hoses again, and I'm going to hook up this brake cable, and then come back over here, put the brake pads back on, and clean out that brake drum right there. So let's get that going. I got everything back together, and got the brake shoes back on. I got the drum cleaned up, got all the gunk out of there and the grease and everything. So I'm gonna put the drum back on and put the little washer and castle nut and cotter pin back in and take it for a test drive. Try it out. Set the preload on the brakes. This is where you set the preload if you watch the front brakes video for the Bayou. So let's finish it up. Take it for a ride. We had a little snafu getting the brakes back on. These brakes, you know, they go together like this and then they pivot out to put pressure on the drum. Well, they're too big this way, so they're hitting the drum edge as I try to put it in. So I did some research, and this is a common problem. Evidently you have to kind of machine out, drill out, scrape out, you know, grind. I used a big round file and cleaned out material here and here so that they would be closer together when they mount onto here. So let's try that out. I don't know how much I'm going to need to take off, but I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. I'm going to put the springs back on, and we're going to try to get these back in there. So you can see how I've got the springs here. It's the same as the front. So you fold them like that, so the open hook part is on the outside of both of them, the top and the bottom. And then you slip them on there, kind of snap them into place. They should sit nice and flush. You know, if you have it too far back, there's a little lip that it would ride up on and hit. So got our drum here. Let's see if we can get it on there this time. Not quite. Looks like we're going to need a little bit more. No problem. Easy enough to put on and off. So I'm going to go back to filing these. Be right back. Well, I got the brakes on there. It took a little bit of machining. I used a larger drill bit and kind of went through the hole. Anyways, so finally got them on there, and I got the drum on here. So now there's a little washer that goes between here. You know, when I took it off, that went on there, so made sure that went back on there. Got the castle nut on here. Got my cotter pin. Slip that back in there. And I'm gonna fold these around like that. And then our little cap can go back on there. This has got some kind of gunk down in there, but it'll be alright. Everything's good and cold this morning, so it's going to take a little bit to get it on there. But there we go. That got it. Alright, yeah, and then put the wheel back on, tighten the lugs down. I'm going to set the preload on the brake drum back here. Shouldn't be too bad. There, it's just starting to grab there, you know, and that's going to need to be adjusted every once in a while after the brakes kind of get worn in. But for now, I think that'll work. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it, and hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.